la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la ya la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la ya la. Ya la 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 la. Let's see if we can do it faster. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Can you do it real fast? Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la ya la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la ya la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
We have some guests, if you haven't noticed. So these are our Girl Scouts. They're having Girl Scout Shabbat tonight. They're coming to learn what Judaism is, what Shabbat is, and celebrate some Shabbat together. We were downstairs. We sang some songs. Now we're up here laying the candles. And they have something that they want to teach you or show you. They have their pledge and song for the Girl Scouts that they're going to do for you. So I'm going to turn it over to the Girl Scouts.
Go ahead. Okay. Yep. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law.
To be honest and fair, friendly and helpful, considerate and caring, courageous and strong, responsible for what I say and do. Respect myself and others, respect authority, use resources wisely, make the world a better place, and be a sister to every Girl Scout.
Thank you to our Girl Scouts. I would like everyone to turn to the person next to you, say Shabbat Shalom. Girl Scouts, you're going to go back outside with Joanna, and you're going to go and do your project. Girl Scouts can go back downstairs where you came from. Back where we were earlier today. Amazing.
That was amazing. Let's hear it for the Girl Scouts again. Thank you, Girl Scout leaders, for bringing your troop here to Temple Beth-El. This was a special way to begin our service. And we've got a great service this evening. We're very honored to have Dr. Ken Bossert, the superintendent of Great Neck Public Schools, here this evening as our guest speaker. And so that'll be coming a little bit later. Right now, we're going to begin on page 13, Psalm 96. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Adonai Shir Chadash. Sing unto God, all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. On page 7. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Together. From the flight of time. From the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat, abide. On page 20. Page 20 is Lecha Dodi will welcome a Shabbat into the world, and we will sing a melody that I know is a favorite of this congregation, which is the melody composed by Leonard Cohen, not for this piece, but for Hallelujah, and we're going to sing Lecha Dodi in that melody. Yay! Lecha Dodi likrat kala pernei Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Hishmianu el hamyuchad Adonai echad Ushemo echad L'shem u'tiferet v'litila Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 2. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha Ki mekor ha-baracha merosh mikedem nesucha B'machshavat tchila lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala Pene Shabbat Nekabela. Verse 5. Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva orech kumi uri, 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 shir, daberi. Uri, uri, Gla lechadodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela lechadodi likrat kala pene Shabbat Beloved, it's your custom to rise. Please do so. Oi v'shalom ateret ba'ala gam b'simcha u'v'tzola toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela.
We continue on page 24.
Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharet Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Boachem leshalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech, malachei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Baruch hu ni leshalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Tzedchem leshalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 29 at the bottom. O God, you are as near as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthermost star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. Well, let our desire be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence. Please rise. We're on the opposite page. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Le'olam Va'ed. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Page 30, together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, bore yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil bein yom uvein laila, Adonai tzavaot shemo. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Page 32. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amcha avta. Torah umitzvot, chukim umishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shochbeinu uvkumeinu, nasiach bechukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla yomam v'layla ve'ahavatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch ata Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Please be seated. Page 36. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
At the top of page 39, standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Micha Mocha on page 40.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osei pele, nora tehilot osei pele. מלכותך ראו בניך, רוקי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. On page 43 at the top, together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. Vehamidenu shomreinu, shomreinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. Vehamidenu shomreinu, shomreinu lechayim. Ufros aleinu, sukat shlomecha. Ufros aleinu, Sukat shlomecha hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom vehamidenu shomreinu lechaim.
We continue on page 44 with Vishamru.
Veshamru bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. Veshamru bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Page 46, please rise. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'Konei Hakol, Ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot Ve'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך, סלה. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
Page 62.
Yehu leratzon imre fi vegyon libi. Yehu leratzon imre fi vegyon libi lefanecha. Yehu leratzon imre fi vegyon libi. Yehu leratzon imre fi vegyon libi lefanecha. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri v'gohali, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri v'gohali. Go inside your heart, just be. Go inside your heart and see what it wants, what it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be kind, be true. May they be acceptable to you, O my rock and my redeemer. We pray now for loved ones, friends, and family members, members of our community, people here and in Israel and around the world who are struggling and need healing and peace. If you're praying for someone this evening and you'd like to share their name, I invite you to do so as my eyes meet yours. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Alfred. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Arlene. Thank you, Beth. Thank you. Thank you, Randy. Thanks, Ina. Thank you. Thanks, John. Thank you, Phil. Thanks, Nicole. Thank you, Mark. May God be with all of them and bring them a renewal of body and spirit. Page 253. Mi shebeirach avoteinu mikor habracha leimoteinu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. We are especially honored to have Dr. Ken Bossert here. Whoops. we're especially honored to have Dr. Ken Bossert here this evening as our guest speaker, the superintendent of Great Neck Public Schools. And in just a moment, I'm going to invite our incoming Temple president, Jordana Levine, to come up and give a formal introduction of him. Before I do that, though, I also want to recognize some people who are here in the congregation this evening who are strongly connected with Dr. Bossert and the wonderful work that he's doing in our public schools here in Great Neck. We have two of our Temple members who are members of the Great Neck Public Schools Board of Education, Donna Perez and Grant Tock, as well as another member of the Board of Education, Steve Chen, is here. And at least a few minutes ago, the board president, Rebecca Sassouni, was here. I don't know if she left. Okay, but Rebecca was here also, and it's just a real testament, I think, to the strength of Dr. Bossert's leadership that almost the entire school board is here to be here for his remarks. I have had the privilege of getting to know Dr. Bossert over the last several months since he has been in Great Neck, and he is a wonderful man, deeply thoughtful, deeply committed to children and the education of our kids here in Great Neck. And as we know, we have some of the best public schools in the entire country, and it's a source of great pride for all of us. So I'd like to invite Jordana to come on up and introduce our speaker.
Hello, good evening. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. We are honored to have the privilege to both welcome and introduce Dr. Kenneth Bossert, the superintendent of the Great Neck Public Schools, as our guest speaker this Erev Shabbat. I would also like to extend a warm welcome to his wife, Melissa, and to his parents. Thank you for joining us. I was also going to introduce our Board of Ed members, but thank you to Rabbi Stoller. He has introduced them. But I do see some teachers. Oh, okay. I do see some teachers out in our pews today, so I just want to welcome you as well to Temple Beth-El. Thank you all for your service and what you do for our community. Dr. Bossert comes to Great Neck with a resume that reflects a distinguished and accomplished career. Just a heads up, we may need to have a seventh inning stretch as I share all of Dr. Bossert's credentials. It's an incredibly extensive list. He arrived in Great Neck after serving as superintendent of the Elwood School District, and prior to that, the Port Jefferson School District. Additionally, Dr. Bossert served as assistant superintendent for curriculum and instruction in the Three Village District, and he also served in the capacity of principal in the Eastport South Manor School, and as assistant principal in the Longwood School District. Take that stretch, okay. He began his career as an elementary classroom teacher. Equally impressive to his work experience is Dr. Bossert's involvement in various professional educational organizations, including sitting on the executive committee of the New York State Council of School Superintendents as treasurer. He is also a 5-year member of the Commissioner's Advisory Council, treasurer of the Scope Board of Directors, and is an adjunct professor for Stony Brook University's Educational Administration Program. Additionally, Dr. Bossert is a past president of the Suffolk County School Superintendents Association. I think we need to help find him some things to do with all of his free time. As we are gathered here this evening to celebrate Shabbat and to also hear from Dr. Bossert, it only seemed fitting that we look to draw connections between our weekly Torah portion, Parashat Emor, and our esteemed guest. Parashat Emor, found in Leviticus chapter 21 through 24, offers a rich tapestry of laws and teaching that guide the lives of the priests and, by extension, the entire community. One of the central themes of this portion is the concept of holiness and the ways in which we can create a holy community through our actions, dedication to higher principles, and leadership. In the short time that Dr. Bossert has been in Great Neck, he has already demonstrated that leadership in thought and action is necessary to unite our community, particularly in difficult times. For example, in the immediate aftermath of the horrific events of October 7th, Dr. Bossert organized and hosted By Leaps and Bounds, an event at Great Neck North to showcase to the community what our district already does to educate our students and teachers about anti-Semitism and hate. In addition, he is actively leading efforts to amplify the importance of anti-Semitism-related education across other school districts. I read somewhere that one exemplifies a leader if they practice active listening, inspire with their actions, establish clear goals, create relationships, seek feedback, empower and uplift others, correct without placing blame, measure results instead of methods, and encourage change when needed. These attributes in particular reflect so aptly the type of leader that Dr. Bossert personifies. When he first arrived in Great Neck, he laid out his 100-day plan and created an opportunity for a thought exchange. He has invited high school seniors to have an exit interview to offer feedback for their time in our schools. And he has also emphasized the importance of partnership with the school community, including parents, students, and staff. He is a genuine listener. He invites input and comes to all meetings prepared with a plan, but executes the process so that everyone involved feels like a stakeholder in the outcome. And these are just some of the tangible examples that highlight Dr. Bossert's immediate impact on our district. Great Neck is so lucky and blessed to have him. So without further ado, we are thrilled to invite Dr. Bossert to the Bema. We thank you for your dedication to the Great Neck community and for joining us at Temple Beth-El this evening. Thank you.
Jordana, I want to thank you for that very humbling introduction and your beautiful remarks that I will do my best to live up to. And my wife will make sure on the ride home that I remain humbled after those remarks you made. I am very blessed to be joined here tonight by my wife, Melissa, and my parent, student, Janet, have taken a break from their regular attendance at Friday night services at the temple in Center Moriches, Jewish Center of the Moriches, where they've been members for about 45 years and served in every capacity on their temple's board, and I was pleased that they agreed to join us tonight at Temple Beth-El. Shabbat Shalom to everyone. I truly appreciate Rabbi Stoller inviting me to speak to the congregation tonight, but I will note that the last time I attended services here at Temple Beth-El was at the invitation of Regent Tillis on the interfaith service that was held here in honor of Martin Luther King's birthday, where Governor Hochul was asked to speak. I note you used a larger room for her address. Jerry Seinfeld, who gave some wonderful commencement remarks at Duke recently, once said in one of his stand-up routines that the number one fear individuals have more than anything else is public speaking. Number two is death. So at the funeral, folks would rather be in the box than deliver the eulogy. I typically don't get nervous and anxious when speaking publicly because it's part of my role and responsibility as an education leader and a district representative. Tonight, however, I am a bit nervous. It's been some time since I addressed the congregation from the position on the Bema, but it's not the first time. I do have to share that as a member of the congregation Moriches, it's a small community. Moriches, New York is on the South Shore. They like to refer to themselves as the gateway to the Hamptons. They're one of 7 or 8 communities that like to refer to themselves as the gateway to the Hamptons. But because of the location, the congregation's a bit smaller than here at Beth-El. And for a period of time during my formative years, there was a part-time rabbi. So the president of the congregation approached myself and one of my 15-year-old colleagues and asked, since we were so recently bar mitzvahed and so skilled in running a Friday night service, if we would serve as part-time lay leaders of the congregation. So you left that off my resume, Jordana. And I'm not sure I included it in my application to Great Neck Public Schools. But I was part-time lay leader of the congregation for a period of time, and I was asked to analyze portions of the Torah and make connections to real life. So I had to dust off that skill set and, prepare to do tonight. I am the very proud, newly appointed superintendent of Great Neck Public Schools, as Rabbi Stoller and Jordana was so kind to mention. I've only been in the district since August 1st, but to say that I feel very much at home here in Great Neck would be an understatement. My family on my mother's side does have some roots in this area, and we discovered just before services that Bill Perez and my mother apparently attended camp at B'nai B'rith at the same time. They were campers together, Bill and my mother, so they will have to reconnect. But it's funny how the Jewish community is a small one. And if you have conversation and you start to make connections, there's something about our faith that always brings people back together. Jordana went through very kindly my resume, so I will skip that so we have 10 extra minutes to try to catch the second half of the Knicks game. By the way, there is a way to show strong devotion to God on the Sabbath, and it's by being here at Temple Beth-El rather than watching Game 6 of the Knicks series. So that is very impressive. We will likely be inscribed in the Book of Life. In addition to the accolades that we heard, I really want you to take a moment and reflect upon the success of the Great Neck Public Schools. I know that many of you moved to Great Neck and raised your families here because of the school district. And when I was honored to be appointed as superintendent, just a few weeks later, one of the rankings, the niche rankings of school district, ranked Great Neck Public Schools as the #1 public school in the state of New York. So I immediately took to Facebook, and my post was, "My work here is done." My wife was then kind enough to remind me, and she said, Ken, there's only one way to go from #1. So my job here in Great Neck is a simple one. It's not to goof things up. You have wonderful schools. We have talented leaders. We have excellent educators, passionate leaders in the classroom who really enrich the lives of their children and make sure that each of our students reaches their own full potential. And to get to know them and to spend time in the classrooms and spend time in the buildings has been so gratifying, because when we talk about what needs to be done in Great Neck, it's not grand changes. It's fine-tuning an instrument. If one has the vision of a cello, the large tuning pegs at the large will make grand scale changes, and the small tuning devices at the bridge will make the small changes. We're below the bridge in Great Neck because we're making fine changes. We are looking at things with a careful lens to make targeted changes to what is already an exemplary product. So to get back to the Torah portion, and Ms. Levine spoke a bit about it, and by the way, we may be cousins. I know that my last name doesn't shout my faith, which sometimes is helpful. I can be stealth Judaism. But my mother was born a Schneider, which sounds a bit more Jewish. And my father's mother, my grandmother, was a Levine. So I know there's many Levines, but you never know, Jordana. If we trace it back, somewhere in Brooklyn, our families probably knew one another. So this week's Torah portion, which was referenced a bit, does also speak about the role of the Kohanim. And I seem to remember learning the lessons and attending Hebrew school as a young child and coming to services and attending high holidays and watching the rabbi ask if there was any Kohanim present so they could perform these extra duties and functions. And I always wondered how someone got to be Kohanim. Why did they get these additional blessings? Why these special duties? Why these special honors? And it was one of the things I questioned, to say, is there an exam one needs to take to become Kohanim? Are there additional classes I can take to become Kohanim? As an educator, I believe in education opening up opportunities, so how do I get this one? And I later learned that this was one of the questions that would remain about bloodline, about you have to be born into that. And that lesson shaped many others to follow. So for me, what education does is even the playing field. And what we have aspired to do, and I'm so glad that 3 members of the board are here tonight, because we can all agree that I think the leading philosophy of Great Neck Public Schools is all means all, that we need to create opportunities for all students to be successful. We need to create diverse experiences so every child can achieve. And we really, while we have some wonderfully high-performing students, we need to make sure there are opportunities available for everyone to have an equal opportunity to be successful. And to relate that back to the Torah portion, it shouldn't be determined by what family you're born into to what success you can achieve in life. And I think that education is the great equalizer, and I think the Board of Education shares that vision in making sure our schools provide those opportunities for both. That wasn't the only question I asked as a student in Hebrew school. I'm going to throw one to the congregation tonight as well. My parents keep a kosher home to this day, so I grew up having a deep understanding of kashrut law, and one of the things I never understood is why isn't chicken parmesan kosher? If we don't mix meat and dairy because we do not bathe the calf in its mother's milk, I don't see any milk coming from the chicken. So I've posed this question to every rabbi I've ever had the opportunity to engage in this conversation with, but I'll save that for Rabbi Stoller for another time. So interestingly, when we look at statistics of what helps students to meet with success at the college level, there's a lot of information that our students put on their college applications to help registrar's office elect who is going to be able to attend. SAT scores, ACT scores, GPA, all of these things. You might be surprised to know that the statistic on a college application that it is most correlated to success at the postgraduate level is zip code. So we are still in a place where the resources available in one's community of residence will determine the success that they achieve. Regent Tillis has worked for the last 3 decades to try to change that statistic. I've heard him speak on many occasions about how the boundary between the Dix Hills School District and the Wyandanch School District should not determine the success that the students will have when they leave those institutions. We share that philosophy, and I think it's important that, again, the equal opportunities are presented to all. Again, there's much to be proud of in Great Neck. No matter what periodical we look at that defines school rankings, our schools will always be in the top 1% of the state, the top 1% of the nation. Our students bring home accolades every day that can be compared with any other school district in the country, let alone our region and state. To name them would be guilty by omission. I could not possibly list all of them, but please visit our website and read our PR articles, because we are very good at celebrating the successes of our students. Over 20,000 high schools in the United States, and both Great Neck North and Great Neck South rank in the top 1% of those 20,000 institutions. The investment you're making in the education of our students in the public schools is noted. There is a perception of Great Neck. The perception is this is a predominantly white, predominantly Jewish, wealthy area. And for a period of time, that was more reflective of reality than it is today. But when I look at the demographics of the 7,000 students that are enrolled, bless you, in our public schools, and first of all, not every resident of Great Neck, as you know, attends our public schools. 76% of the students who are eligible in Great Neck attend the public schools, 24% attend private schools. And when we survey them, the vast majority of them are seeking a faith-based education. That's not something we seek to compete with, nor is it something that we in any way feel badly about. We're not trying to replicate the religious and faith-based education that some of our students are seeking when they don't attend public schools. If there were families who are attending private school because they don't feel the quality of education in Great Neck Public Schools is something that is in the best interest of their child, I'd like to have conversations with them, and I'd like to dig deeper into that. But the largest majority of our students who don't attend the public schools are faith-based. You might be surprised to look deeper into those demographics and realize at this time, 22% of our students are eligible for free or reduced price lunch, which means their families are living below the poverty level. That's 22%. You might be surprised to know that 9% of our students are or once were classified English language learners. You might be surprised to know that 10% of our students identify as Hispanic, 35% white, 52% Asian, 3% two or more races. I'm not sure the visual that those who reside outside of Great Neck immediately come to mind represents our true reality. And I think that when we plan for the future of our school district, we need to keep in mind the community and the population that we're serving. Our Board of Education has set goals this year to make sure that we're doing that. When we look at the board goals of extraordinary student experiences, and some of our teachers that help us to achieve that are here tonight, celebrating diversities, celebrating coexistence has been a pillar of this year, and I can see that for the foreseeable future, that will continue to be the focus of the board and the administration. Enhancing communications. Jordana, I was very touched by your words to show that we are moving in the right direction in those avenues, so thank you. And effective transitions. We've had some change in leadership, and with that change comes a close evaluation of everything that we're doing to make sure we're acting in the best interest of the community. Some of the priorities that we've covered this year include a focus on news media literacy, restorative justice practices. We're investing a lot of time right now into the incorporation of AI into our classrooms. You know, when cell phones were first introduced, it was the effort of every educator to tell students, put those away, we don't want to see those during class. Now they are incorporated into lessons. We're using things like Kahoot and Instant Polls and things to make cell phones a valuable educational resource. It's time to do the same thing with AI. For a period of time, we just went out of our way to block it and make sure the kids weren't using it to write their papers for them. That's a time gone by. Now it's ways that we skillfully incorporate that resource into our instruction because it is the future and it is something to advantage moving forward. Jordana mentioned the Leaps and Bounds event, and I thought it might be something of particular interest to the community. We planned that night. It was called Leaps and Bounds because we held it on Leap Day. It was February 29th, held at North High School, and it was a wonderful representation of all the work happening K-12 to raise awareness regarding anti-Semitism, to talk about what we're doing to promote and foster Holocaust education. And Regent Tillis, I didn't know you were going to be here tonight. I know you are a member of the temple, but I woke up to Roger this morning. He was featured on News 12, and he was speaking at Old Bethpage Village where they were doing a reenactment of World War II. And in his moment of live airtime, he spoke about the importance of promoting Holocaust education in the state of New York. And Regent Tillis was recently honored by our Board of Education at the last public meeting for working with the legislature and the governor's office to secure $500,000 to be given to the state education department to promote Holocaust education across New York. Roger and I have been speaking about this for some time, and while there is a mandate that Holocaust education take place in public schools, I'm not sure that there's any real script for how that takes place, the quality of what's done, or any other requirements. Much like there is a requirement at State Education Department that we practice 15 minutes of flag appreciation a week, we check that box by saying the pledge in the morning. I'm not sure that's going to cut it for Holocaust education. I think the topic is too important. I think that the time is too prime to make sure our students understand the dangers of anti-Semitism in our community and our surrounding communities. And it is our goal collectively to make sure that Great Neck Public Schools serves as a lighthouse district in combating all forms of hate, and specifically now anti-Semitism. Forgive me if I'm being repetitive, but at a public board meeting, I stole words from my daughter. Abigail is a recent graduate of Binghamton University, and she brought home from there a metaphor during the Black Lives Matter movement. And when folks were saying, why are we focused on this area? She shared with me a metaphor that I think is applicable to our focus on anti-Semitism today. When there is a community of homes on a street, every home has equal value, every home is important. When one of them is on fire, the fire department will screech past the ones that are in safe condition to extinguish the flames. Right now, as Jewish Americans and living here, the house is on fire. So the fire department has arrived to help extinguish the flames. And what I think makes the metaphor even more appropriate is it's wonderful to see, in many cases, the inhabitants of the other homes joining the fire department to help extinguish the flames. So the partnership that we have with all members of our community will help us to be that lighthouse district and community as an example for others. It brought me great pleasure that other districts that surround ours brought teachers, brought administrators, brought members of their boards to see what Great Neck was doing. And they learned about our partnership with the Anti-Defamation League and learned that all of our schools at the elementary level and now the secondary program are designated No Place for Hate schools by the Anti-Defamation League. And it's so wonderful that the Greenblatts, who are the directing family of the ADL, are members of the Great Neck community and give us such a wonderful partnership with that association. The lessons that our students learn associated with No Place for Hate go a long way for their understanding of coexistence and respecting all. We have a partnership with the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center. We send our teachers there for our professional development activities. We send students there to tour, and they come into our facilities to share some of their expertise. We have a wonderful program that is taking place at North High that we want to spread to South High and other districts as well. It's called Names, Not Numbers. It's our opportunity to bring in Holocaust survivors to come to speak to our students, and they film them and they interview them, and then they archive the footage. While we're blessed to have a number of survivors that speak to our students each year, we are running short on applicants for that position. So it's important for the next generation that these interviews, that their firsthand accounts of what took place in those horrible years is archived, and we are doing that in partnership with Names Not Numbers within our district. One of our own retirees, Sandy Cooper, works with our elementary students. So we start our Holocaust education program and awareness in the 4th grade. There are specific books and literature that are used. There are specific lessons that are done that are developmentally appropriate for students of that age. So we start in the elementary schools. We continue to middle school and high school. It was just this week I was over at Baker to hear Manny Corman, a Holocaust survivor, talk. 92-year-old Holocaust survivor, and I gotta tell you, for 92, sharp as a tack, fit as a fiddle, and ran out of the building faster than I could catch him. But he told his family's first-hand accounts of their exit from Poland to avoid the Nazis and how they were reunited in America. And you could hear a pin drop amongst our 10-year-olds listening to his first-hand experience. And that's something that happens across our district, just happened to be this week over at Baker. Michael Glickman, who I know has also spoken here at Temple Beth-El and the director of our Gold Coast Arts Center, he has partnered with the district to open some doors for the administration, the Board of Education. The Board of Education, along with Regent Tillis and members of the administrative team, boarded a bus, a school bus, ladies and gentlemen, and we traveled into Manhattan, where Michael was able to give us a behind-the-scenes tour of 2 of the most predominant Jewish museums in the country that he had been affiliated with and helped to design. And what he was doing was demonstrating the proximity and the values of these resources so that we can return to them with our students and with our teachers. And that's something that is taking place, and the curriculum that came back from them is something that found its way into the classroom in the following days. This Thursday, Michael again is accompanying myself, the North High principal, Dr. Holtzman, a number of teachers and students from both North and South High School to go to the NOVA exhibit that's on display right now. You understand there's a traveling exhibit that talks about the horrors of October 7th and helps to raise awareness and have firsthand accounts. It's not something that is open to all, and I was very, very pleased that Mr. Glickman was able to open the door for students of North and South High. And so many cultural celebrations. We do our best to make sure in some districts, like the one I live, former superintendent of Port Jefferson, I live in Port Jefferson, and my children were both educated in the district, and they learned a lot about diversities and culture exchanges and things like that from textbooks, from videos, some occasional field trips. What's wonderful about Great Neck is it's not lost on me that the United Nations was once located right here in Great Neck. And I'm not sure those roots ever left our community. So the cultural diversities that exist within Great Neck give our students the opportunity to learn cultures, traditions, some aspects of faith and celebrations and holidays from one another. And there was a wonderful celebration at South High School, Cultural Heritage Night. The auditorium was filled with hundreds of people, and each group of students took the stage. And students, Jewish students, held the Israeli flag and sang Hatikva. And members of the students of Asian descent, we saw yo-yos, we saw dragon dances, we saw so many drums, we saw so many things. And I turned to Steve Chen, who I was sitting next to, and I said, this is a wonderful celebration of the diversities of Great Neck. This is what makes us special. And he said, I agree. However, quoting you now, Mr. Chen, he said, I will be more impressed when it's students of Asian descent singing Hatikva and Jewish students performing the dragon dance. And I said, well done. Just a few weeks later, I went to a similar cultural celebration at Lakeville Elementary. I sat with Steve again, and we saw just that. The groups were put together, and the students were permitted to self-select which performance they wanted to be a part of. So we had students of Asian descent dancing to Italian traditional music. We had students of Jewish descent doing the dragon dance. It was wonderful, and it was exactly the shared vision that we said, this is what would make it really special. And I think that's who we are in Great Neck. We have to make sure our priorities match those of the community, and I'm very, very pleased that the community has embraced these initiatives as strongly as you all have, and I thank you. My tagline that I brought with me is the race for excellence has no finish line, and that is truly our vision for Great Neck. We think we're doing an exemplary job for our students, but we know there's always areas for improvement, for focus, for continued growth, and that's our mission to do just that. Thank you so much, Rabbi Stoller, for your invitation tonight, and thank you all for being here.
Thank you. It's wonderful. Appreciate it. Dr. Bossert, thank you for a wonderful and insightful presentation to our community. We know you're doing outstanding work in the public schools, and we're blessed to have you here. And I also want to make sure to recognize our past president and member of the State Board of Regents, Roger Tillis, who is here, who Dr. Bossert recognized for his great work representing all of us at the state level and helping to ensure good quality education for our children. Roger, thank you for being here and for all you do for our temple and for our community. I'd like to invite you all now to please rise, and we're going to turn, page number.
259, I think.
We are going to turn to page 278. We are in this period between Pesach and Shavuot, the time known as the period of the Omer, where it is a mitzvah to count the days connecting the two holidays. It's 7 full weeks culminating in Shavuot on the 50th day. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Our praise to you, Adonai, sovereign of all, who howls us with mitzvot, commanding us to count the Omer. Today is the 25th day, which is 3 weeks and 4 days of the Omer. Back on page 259, please join me in praying for the people and the state of Israel. Let's read together first in English. O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace.
Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Barech, Barech, et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Smichat Geulatenu, Hagen Aleha, Be'evrat Chasdecha, Ufros Aleha, Sukat Shlomecha. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo. Page 282. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liyotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kimishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'goralenu kechol amonam, va'anachnu korim, Umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad Ushemo, Ushemo, Ushemo Echad.
You may be seated. We come to the time now in our service where we think of those who are no longer physically with us. This week, here at Temple Beth-El, we think of Elise Itzlar, who passed away this week, Robert Bob Cummins, and Jared Wayne, who passed away in the last 30 days, and the yahrzeit of Leonard Bergstein, Mary Brody, Jeffrey Cohen, Sidney Fink, Joel Heller, Michael Seth Heller, Doris Lebo, Sally Nevins, Rebecca D. Siegel, and Seymour Burke. If you're thinking of someone who's not on this list, please share their name out loud as my hand goes around the room. Thank you. We continue on page 294 for Mourner's Kaddish and rise if it is your custom. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach chirte ve'amlich malchute, b'chayechon uv'mechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'elam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemed kudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechamata. Da'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all of Israel, and we say together, amen.
Amen. Please be seated. Shabbat Shalom, all. It's great to see you. Thank you all for being here this evening, and I want to give a special thanks again to our wonderful speaker, Dr. Kenneth Bossert. And thank you to Rabbi Megan, to Stu and Joy P., to Jason Malofsky, our tech specialist, and also thank you to Joni Miller, our member who comes in each week to make calls and ensure that everybody knows what's going on and helps to create wonderful turnouts for our events. Joni, thank you so much for all you do. And thank you, Phil, for ushering and welcoming us so warmly. Thank you to the Margoloff family for baking the challah, and to our Oneg bakers, Linda Diamond, Sharon Freeman, Maria Margoloff, Beth Schneider, and Jane Cohen. A couple of announcements about this weekend. We have a busy weekend here. Tomorrow morning, we have our Torah study at 9:15, and then Shabbat morning services at 10:30. At 11:30, right after the service, we are having Kiddush lunch together with our friends from the Little Neck Jewish Center. As we discussed at our congregational meeting the other night, the Little Neck Jewish Center is a potential partner with us in our vision for the future of pluralistic Judaism here in Great Neck. And it's a really important event tomorrow. We want to welcome them to our congregation, to show hospitality, get to know them. So please come tomorrow. We already have, I think, somewhere around 100 people who are planning to be at lunch, which is amazing. And I hope if you haven't registered that you'll come to be part of it. On Sunday evening, we are going to be celebrating the leadership of Gary Slobin, our outgoing president. He served for 4 years as the president of the congregation. The end of his term is in a couple weeks, and this is going to be a great night of fun, celebration, very much fits Gary's personality, I think. We're going to have a great time, and so please come to celebrate that. Next week on Wednesday evening, Jordana has organized a couple of Israeli speakers who will be here. What time is it? 7, Jordana? One of our speakers is from Great Neck, was a soldier in the IDF, and is going to be talking about what's going on in Israel. That's Wednesday at 7 p.m. I think with that, we are going to go ahead and...
One more thing.
Yeah.
Oh, am I on? One more thing is tomorrow evening, we have a family game night. So if you have kids anywhere from preschool until 12th grade, come hang out with us. We're going to be, family art night. We'll be doing an art night. We'll be doing different art projects, having dinner, ice cream, all the fun things, 5:30 here. Please come join.
Wonderful. I'm going to invite Roger to help lead us in Kiddush. Would you all please rise?
Oh, you're about to get burnt.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher litziat mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat. L'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
And we have a special Israeli oneg in the oneg Shabbat room tonight. So please come down, hear some Israeli music, eat some falafel, and celebrate Israel together.